Sometimes it's just too close.
Okay, for you.
All right, guys, well, we'll go ahead and get started. You never know how many people are coming, so people will either join or they won't. All right. Today's class is all about nurturing. So I am gonna go ahead and share a screen and we're gonna get started. So a couple of things. I've got a lot of good information to go over here and I don't want to delay. So as people join, anyone who needs to unmute yourself, please do and ask any questions. Thanks for joining here in person, girls. Okay, so a couple things. So tell me challenges, questions, and things that you guys have concerns about or want to learn more about with follow-up. In particular, let's start with internet leads. I know that that's the most challenging lead to convert. So let's talk about that for a second. So I'll look to the two in the room who I know are working some internet leads. So tell me, what are your biggest challenges with internet leads? And everyone on Zoom, please. I know you guys have hesitate to unmute yourself, but please do.
How much to truly keep calling them until we connect.
Okay. What do you think what do you normally do? Like, what is your plan with that?
Call, leave a message, text. We also do send an email as well. But I just don't know. I don't like to be pushy, but I also don't want to just sit and wait for a response.
Right, right.
So what is average to keep?
So do you do the same thing for Boomtown, Zillow, all of it? Okay. What about you, Kim? Are you doing any opposite leads or anything? Okay.
No, I signed it, but I never.
You're not taking any?
Did it because I'm
Okay.
like. Yes, I've just been wanting to like establish myself, which is, I know, kind of slow.
That's okay. That's okay.
I feel like now I'm getting that the same kind of thing though with other leads, other ways. Like my open house I just had, I have like 3 different people I'm following up with, and I'm trying to be as bold as possible, but also I don't know that I have a real method, but I need to stick them into a method. I did call, then I did text, and then I'm gonna call again today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's.
So there's different kinds of.
Daily, that was looking at an appointment, because both of them, all 3 were interested.
Yeah. So there's different kinds of follow-up for different kinds of groups of people. And I'll say people because not everybody's actually a lead, right? So not everybody we're talking to is a lead. So an internet lead's a lead. Someone who we meet at open house is a lead. A referral to us from somebody is a lead. Someone who calls on a for sale sign is a lead. But our SOI, they're not leads. So the way we handle our SOI, which is our sphere of influence, those are our database of people that we know. So that's someone that we know. If we pick up our cell phone and we look at how many hundreds or thousands of people we have on our phone or that we're friends with on social media, that's friends, family, neighbors, friends of friends, whatever, all the people that we know and we've come in contact with in some way, even our neighbors. Those aren't necessarily categorized as leads. Those are the people that we're trying to turn into our referral network. We want those. Tara, would you mind closing the door? I was waiting for the next person to come in. Our referral network. So those are the people that we want to view us as the expert in real estate. So that way, when they themselves or someone they know is thinking about real estate, buying, selling, or investing, that they'll think of us immediately. We want them to refer our name. So the follow-up with them is quite different. We probably aren't going to call, text, and email our neighbor 3 days in a row. We probably aren't going to reach out to our SOI in all 3 ways for several days until they respond. That's where people start to feel like they're being pushy. That's a whole different thing. So you'll see today when we talk about the 3x3 and the 5x5, that it's 2 entirely different things, even though it sounds the same. It's not. It's for 2 totally different groups of people. Your internet leads are the ones who are complete strangers to you, probably. That doesn't mean that somebody who knows you from social media didn't click on a link that you posted on social media and come to your site as an internet lead. But technically, you kind of know them, or you blasted something out and they saw you on there, but they could potentially still be a stranger. That is someone, so what? So what if you reach out to them too much? What's they can say stop, right? And they will, and they do. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but every single day, including Sunday mornings at 7:30, I get text messages from random different people trying to sell me medical insurance. They must assume that every real estate agent doesn't have insurance because it's not a job, but some of us have spouses that do. So we don't need it. Every day I click the report junk button and then a new number comes through. I don't respond, but I just hit report junk, no big deal. It is a big deal because it's annoying, but I just hit report junk. So like they can just say stop. But however, if someone said something of interest and I didn't have medical insurance, maybe I would reply, right? So you're just looking for that person. And don't forget, these random people got my number someplace because I certainly didn't inquire about medical insurance. So when someone comes to you as an internet lead, you're not cold calling, they came to you. So don't look at it like you're bugging them. They gave you their phone number and they gave you their right phone number. So there shouldn't be any kind of agitation about it on their part, even though sometimes they might get annoyed. That's okay. They should expect that you're going to follow up. Anybody on Zoom can share questions or concerns on their internet leads and how they might follow up with them and what they feel about that. Go ahead.
I do.
Yep.
So I have a Zillow lead and we had connected and talked and she confirmed me as her agent and all that good stuff. And then she went, she ghosted me. So I had sent her a couple texts. Let's see, the last time she texted me was April 27th. And on the 30th, I texted her May 1st, Friday, nothing. So today I essentially just want to reach out to her and say, like, what I'm thinking is, hey, wanted to know, what service you still need from me as your agent. We haven't had a chance to connect in the last, week, I think it's been. How can I set up a showing or another automatic search for you? Or like, I want to know like how to make sure she just hasn't maybe said she's my agent, but has dumped me as her agent.
Yeah, I don't think she has, Shonda. I think it's too short of a time to have made that assumption. Ghosting you means 4 months has gone by and she hasn't replied. I think you have an expectation that because she said she's working with you, that she should have responded every time you reached out. And I think that we have to have an expectation about things and then we don't get disappointed when we know what we're going to get. So again, if I've agreed to work with someone, but you haven't established what my timeline is, I'm going to respond to you when I'm ready. Like you don't know what their timeline is. You don't know what their pain point is. And you also don't know what their personality type is. So, like someone like me, I'm going to respond to you when I'm damn good and ready. Yeah. And when I need something from you, that's just my personality type. So it doesn't matter if I'm hurting your feelings or you think, and quite honestly, that's what if I get the feeling someone who's trying to sell me something, their feelings got hurt because I didn't respond quickly enough, my personality is going to go, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So
we actually did have a conversation and it went, we established a lot of that information. So it was just sort of strange then when she didn't respond.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just trying to get an idea of like, well, then what would I want? Basically it sounded like she was looking right now. She was pre-approved, like she's ready to go. She had like 3 or 4 houses she was naming off to me. And then it got quieter. So I was like, well, what would be an appropriate response?
I think you just have to be present. That's it.
Okay.
I think that responses right now is I'm available when you need me and you just have to be present. Don't make it about you haven't responded or anything. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but
Yeah.
then it becomes a, uh-oh, now I'm being on the defense as the client and now I feel guilty. I haven't responded. Uh-oh, she might be mad at me. And then they just walk away because remember, these buyers, this isn't their first runaround, especially for someone who's ready. This person has been online. If she's already ready and pre-approved and had houses in mind, this was not her first. She didn't just dip her toe in the pool. She's already
Yeah.
been diving. You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly. She's been in and she's already talked to 10 other agents too. And so there's a few different scenarios that could be in play. One,
Okay.
she tells everybody they're her agent. You're my agent. You're my agent. You're my agent. And the reason why is because she wants you to help, you to help, you to help, because she thinks everybody's got different information. I don't know why they think that. Well, I do know why. Here's why. 30 years ago, because even 5 years before me being in the business, agents held on to their listings. There wasn't a multiple listing service. Actually, there just started to be a multiple listing service 25 years ago when I got my license. We used to have binders in the back of the real estate office with photocopies of our office's listings. So clients had to know multiple agents to be able to say, what does your office have listed? And then they had to rely on the repository ads and they had to rely on Harmon Home ads, which were in the grocery store. They had to do things like that. So that's trickled down from their parents and their grandparents. And so they think that in the back of their mind, but even though reality tells them that's probably not the truth of it. But so they just think that there's more information. Because ever hear someone say to you, yeah, I'm working with a few people, but you know what? You could send me stuff too. It's all the same. What am I going to send you that's any different than those people? So I just think it's a number of things. So what I would just be is present. Here's and then make it about the house. I say it all the time. Sellers are picking an agent, buyers are picking a house, and they will happily use any competent agent. They will. And even friends and family do it to us all the time. Accidentally, even. So I would just be present. Go ahead.
So I had
Yeah.
something very similar to that,
Mhm.
and what turned out is the entire family was sick. So,
See, yeah.
like, I feel like they ghosted me, and 2 weeks later, they're like, sorry, we had, like, our
Yeah.
entire family went through the stomach bug, so.
Yeah, and people just don't know what really is going on. Like, we have to think about perspective. I just had this conversation yesterday about perspective. We just don't know what everybody's perspective is on things and why something that's going on is going on. Everyone doesn't have to share with somebody everything that's going on in their life all the time. You know, and you're a stranger to that. You know, like who knows really what's going on? I mean, they could be in court. Like there's a million things that could be happening. I don't think that I don't think yet you can say she ghosted you. It's too short of a time.
Yeah.
So I would just follow up and be present. I don't think for your scenario, the 3x3 kicks in because she did respond. If that makes sense. So, hey guys, I did upload what I've got printed here for those who came in into the Google Drive. So this packet is in there. So you guys can access it. I just created this little flyer last night and put it in there. So, all right. So the 3x3 is a follow-up technique in particular in place for internet leads. So you received the lead and here's what it says. You should call, email, text, call, email, text, call, email, text. This is 3 days in a row. Do all 3 days in a row. I didn't want to turn this into a scripting class, so that's why I put on here that you should know the script. What are you saying? The question is, what am I saying? Well, there's scripts in the drive. We practice scripts every other Friday, and these are the kinds of scripts that we practice. So for those of you coming to scripting on Friday, I thank you, and you know what we talk about. For those of you who don't, then you should come. And you all, and most of you, and some of you do have scripting partners that you script these scripts with. And the scripts are in the drive. But basically, the script is, thank you so much for visiting my website. it's first a thank you, always first a thank you. And then it's something about the house that they looked at. They didn't just visit a site. They visited a site through a house. It's a very rare, by rare, I mean almost zero, that they just visited a site. Most people, buyers, don't just find an agent. Listings, that happens, but buyers don't just search agents. They find referrals if they're looking for an agent, or they start looking on sites to find a house. So you have some content to know what kind of a house they're looking for, even if the particular house that they clicked on wasn't exactly what they're looking for. It's something to latch onto. So your script is thanking them first, and then it's, I saw that you were looking at the house. It's always LP Mama, guys. It's always the same. Then you're rolling into the LP Mama script, which is, I saw that you were looking at the listing over there in North Canton. It looks like the price of that's $250. And so I would love to send you some more properties. That's it. And then it's, would you like to see it? I'm available today at 2 or 6. Always throwing it out there. You say that in the call, you say that in the text, you say that in the email. Create it's easy for yourself is create yourself some templates. Create text templates and email templates, and then copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, or have them already in your database, whether you use Boomtown or Command, and then they're already there. And then boom, 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 it takes 2 seconds. And then set yourself a to-do, or get creative and create a smart plan around it, or a drip campaign. And then your virtual assistant, which is actually your database or your CRM, will do it for you. And then it'll send you the to-do for tomorrow to call again. And so then the text, then the second day should say something like, I'm following up from my call yesterday. And I just wanted to check back to see if the emails that I sent you, because now the email the second day is the criteria that you said to them you would be sending them. Set them up in a search no matter what. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they respond. Set them up in a search. Does it really hurt you? You don't have a limited. I don't know why people feel like I only have a limited amount of searches I can set up. So I don't want to put people in e-alerts, or I don't want to put people on MLS searches or whatever site you use to set people up in searches. You have an unlimited amount of searches you can set people up in. So no matter what, you set them up in an e-alert if you're using Boomtown, or a search on the MLS, or if you're using Command, no matter what. And you use the criteria of the house that they clicked on. Even if it's not correct, they're getting stuff from you. And then your follow-up is, I hope that that's the right information. If I need to tweak anything, please let me know. If they still don't respond, day 3, again, it's, hey, just hope you're getting my messages in text. And I just wanted to let you know that I won't reach out again for a little while, but I just wanted to make sure that everything was good. And if there's anything else that you need from me, I'll check back in a couple of weeks or something like that. And then it's kind of more the pull away. And then you're going to monitor, are they coming back to the site? So for internet leads, so here's where the expectation comes in. All I'm trying to do, my one goal for my internet lead is get them back to the site. Get them back to the site. So if nothing else, I got to get them back to the site. I have a much greater chance of them someday finally responding to me if I can keep them on the site. If I can't keep them on the site, then they're never going to respond.
Are the website that we set up,
Yep.
to whether through
The e-alert.
Okay.
Yeah, if it's the MLS that you use, you can still see that they've been visiting the site.
Yeah.
And that's the
And
MLS
the point
search.
of that is that it looks kind of the same as every other realtor, unless you're in Boomtown, it might look different.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
Even like Shonda, it's good that she claimed that she's her agent,
Mhm.
so she keeps seeing Shonda, even though she's not responding.
Right.
She's still looking. at
She's
things.
still looking. Yeah, absolutely. And then you follow up accordingly. And then at that point, you set them up in some kind of, so after the 3rd day, now mind you, if they respond anytime during this 3 days, you stop the 3-day thing. You don't continue to do that if they've responded. And then at that point, you set them up in a nurture campaign based on the conversation that you have with them. Or at the end of the 3 days, if they haven't responded, you set them up in a nurture campaign of some kind. And then you're gonna set yourself a to-do to check back in a week to see if they've come back to the site yet. The site meaning Command, the MLS or Boomtown or whatever you're using. If they've come back, now track what they're looking at and then adjust their search that you have them set up on based on what they've been looking at. If you're actively trying to make sure they're getting the right information, they're much more likely to actually, you're the expert then, that you're actually giving them the information that they want. By the way, we're an internet world, they can find it. They can find it. It's not, we don't have the lock and key on this information anymore, but it has to be presented in a way. And then you just have to sort of be the bystander who happens to be there when they find the one that they like to say, hey, I saw you were on the site 2 minutes ago and you looked at this house 3 times in the past 24 hours. I'm available this afternoon and this evening. Would you like to see it? And then
It always kind of come across as big brotherish though. Like I would freak out if someone did that to me. Like help me
I don't,
understand that.
when people say that, I don't get what that means. Like,
I also-
why would you freak out? What does that mean?
Because
though?
I'm
Okay.
on my computer and someone texts me and say, hey, I see you're looking at, you know,
But they're
1,
not
2, 3
looking
Banana
over your
Street.
I
shoulder.
think it's our age. I don't think younger people.
I just
I
say
no
you.
offense.
Yes. Huh?
2-3 Main Street.
Well, here's what you say then. If that makes you feel like people are peeking from the window, what you say is this: I'm able to see from my website that you visited a minute ago.
Okay, that I can say that.
You know what I mean? Like, so that makes you feel more comfortable because I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
because I have had this happen. When you have a QR code on your for sale sign and someone calls it and they get a recording that tells them about the house. Well, that was before the photographs that we do now. So let's rewind even just 3 years ago. Those QR codes used to go to a recording that just told them about the house. Now they go to photographs and all this other stuff on the cell phone. And then it would text you through your app and say, this name and phone number sitting in front of your for sale sign, and they're listening to the recording right now. And then you would call them. And I remember a guy, I said, hey, so I understand you're sitting out in front of my listing at blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, how do you know? Are you sitting across the street watching? And I said, oh, ha, 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 you're a funny guy, huh? Of course, you know, I'm not sitting across the street. You clicked on you scanned a QR code, which then sent me a message. We are living in a technology world, huh? And he hung up on me. And I'm like, well, then you're an idiot. I don't want to work with anyway. So, I mean, like, seriously. And I just roll with it being funny. So you're a snarky guy, ha ha. Clearly, I'm not sitting across the street.
Right.
But so I see what you're saying, Shauna. I do know, but don't let that be this. That's a limiting belief to stop you from following up and saying that. So just change the wording that makes you feel more comfortable. Right?
Yeah. So I see that you were on my website a little bit ago, kind of thing. It's just
Mhm.
that I see you're on my website. I don't know. I don't like the real time.
You don't like
aspect of it.
I saw that you viewed the property a minute ago, or I saw that you viewed the property 3
Yeah.
times.
I just say you've been fired about, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
You don't want to put details.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yep.
And then it could just be coincidental that you
Yeah.
contacted them at that time.
Yeah, I'll view it as a sign, like.
Yeah.
Maybe, but here's what I think though. Don't I want to work with someone who's on top of it?
Right.
I want to work with someone who's on top of it. I mean, listen, when we pick up I could have a thought about a product
Mhm.
in my head and I pick up my phone and it's on Facebook as an ad. Like I didn't talk about it.
Right.
I didn't tell anybody. It was a thought in my head and all of a sudden it's there. So like, that's the world we live in. So, you know what I mean? Like it just is. And whenever I think about that, I think, well, is that bad? It's giving me what I want. So who cares? Like, who cares really? My son and my husband are creeped out by that, but I'm like, why are you creeped out by that? If I want to know about, you know, new sandals for the summer, why wouldn't I want to open up Google and find that takes me to Amazon and I can find what I'm looking for, whatever. So, all right.
All right.
Questions about the 3x program and follow-up system before we move on?
Just something that happened. I had a referral, it was an older guy, and I could not connect to him, phone, text. He just does not use his phone. So I sent a mailer,
Nice.
handwritten card, and he responded on that. So
Very
I guess
good.
It just always depends too on the client.
And I like that. So like what Ashley said, she couldn't connect with somebody who was a little bit older and he wasn't gonna text and he probably does an email. And so she sent him a handwritten note card. So what I love about that, and I love about Ashley, is she's always thinking outside of the box. If this thing isn't working, what can I figure out that might work? And then it did. I love it. That's great.
Did he call you then, or did
Yeah.
he didn't write back?
Right. That's funny.
So it works.
Cool.
That's amazing. I love that. That's great. Yeah, so always thinking about what the next, like, and I know this is something that you do too. I'm struggling, we talked about this at our Boomtown meeting last week. I'm struggling to find a house in an area for my buyer because we've written 4 offers and they aren't getting the house and now there's nothing. And Ashley was the example I had given you in that meeting. She sent out a postcard to an area that they're looking or knocked on doors or whatever it was you did.
Flyer and door hangers.
Door hangers. And then you can, and then letting your buyer know that you're doing that, lets them know that you're working for them. And it keeps their spirits up that we're gonna find you something, and then maybe that someone in that area will actually reach out because maybe they were thinking about buying or
Is
selling.
that more like, are you saying to them like, hey, I have a buyer who's interested in this neighborhood, or are you just more or less promoting yourself as a realtor?
The flyers, I mean, I say that I have a qualified buyer.
Okay.
You know, want the specific area.
Okay,
I put my QR code on there and I have, this next week, I have 2 that I'm cut off of the flyers. The other ones were, it was somebody else for a door hanger, just walked that neighborhood and said they're looking specifically in this area. Are you aware or of any neighbors that
Yeah.
are sell?
yeah, cool.
So,
So you knocked, and then if they weren't there, put your door hanger. Oh, cool. I'm thinking of
awesome.
doing that in April. We talked
Yeah.
about one too.
Yeah,
it's
So-
just hard if they're looking specifically in an
Yeah.
area, you have to target them.
Yeah, right.
and I think that's great in 2 parts. One, the buyer knows let them know you're doing that. That's not a secret.
Right.
And then, you never know what listings you might get, even if it's not for your buyer, that could come up to get business. So,
Mhm.
all right, so moving on. All right, so building your database through your SOI. So the 5x approach is different than the 3x. The 3x again is for your internet leads. That's 3 calls, 3 days, 3 texts, 3 emails. This is a totally different system that you're going to be using for your SOI. So this would be like, I'm going to pick up my cell phone right now. To make it easy, we're going to say you're starting on Monday morning fresh. And this is a 5-day-a-week system. So if you are brand new or you aren't brand new and you're like, okay, I need to start to build my database, I've got to get my crap together and I've got to start selling some houses. And eventually, like again, know the expectation. This is not something that's you're making 5 phone calls and you're getting an appointment. This is about building a foundation. You started a business. If you opened a restaurant, you don't get customers in the door when you bought the building. You have to hire people and you have to get a menu and you have to decorate it and you have to have them, all kinds of things, and then you open the doors. So there's a lot to do, and this is just building that foundation of your business. So day 1, you are going to make 5 phone calls. And each should last no longer than 5 minutes. Do not and these are people that you know. This is your cell phone list. This is your address book, whatever. And, this is where, like in bold, you start with the A's and the Z's kind of thing, right? Do whatever you want. I like to start at the top of the list and work my way down. I don't need to trick myself and go A, Z, and B, like I don't need to do it like that. But, in any case, just start at the top of the list and work your way down. And the scripts for that we'll get to here in a minute. And those calls should not be longer than 5 minutes. You have a particular topic of why you're calling. Don't be rolled into a 30-minute conversation with an old friend. That's not the purpose of your call. 5 calls, 5 minutes for 5 days. So by the end of the week, you have made 25 calls, okay? After you make each call, you have added them into your database. Name, phone number, obviously you have their number because you called them. If you don't already have their email address, that's a piece of the call. Get their email address. And then if you don't have their home address, you can either search it on the tax record or you can ask them for it on the call. So get them in there. Set it to do for 1 month from today. So today's Monday, I'm making my 5 calls. I'm setting it to do for 1 month from today for those 5 people that I am going to go on to social media and make sure that I'm friends with them. And I'm going to like and comment and ask a question on their a post of theirs. Same 5 people from day 1. So here's the point of asking a question. When you just make a comment, it just ends there. They like your comments, whatever. Also just doing a little, happy birthday emoji or whatever, that doesn't get them to say something other than liking it, right? So when you make a comment and ask a question, it causes them to respond more than just liking it. So 2 things happen when you do that. It generates conversation, so it keeps you top of mind for at least a second. And then it puts you in their algorithm on their Facebook so that your posts are going to show up more frequently in their stuff, which is what you want. And so that you do that. And then you're going to do that day 2. You see where I'm going with this. Day 2, 5 people, 5 minutes, set on your calendar in a month, do the social media thing. So after the 30-day cycle, on day 31, you're still making 5 calls, but then you're doing the 5 reaching out on social media, right? So you're on day 31, you're spending no more than 30 minutes. Make sense? Because you're still making your next round of 5 calls, and now you're doing the 5. Like, how long could it possibly take you to make 5 comments on people's social media? Set it to do at the end of that for now month 2, so a month later, to send a handwritten note card. And the reason that we're not doing all of this in one time, you don't make the call and do the social media comment and send the handwritten note card all in one swoop, because you're trying to stretch out the time of keeping yourself top of mind, right? And these are people that you know. And so then you're going to send the handwritten thank you card, include some business cards. So that way at day 61, you're making your 5 calls, you're doing your 5 social media posts, not posts, but comments, and then you're writing your 5 not thank you cards, but handwritten note cards, right? And then you're starting all over again. So the cycle just keeps going. Does that make sense? In your handwritten thank you card is just, or not, I keep saying thank you card, but it's a handwritten note card. And it's just something very, and you'll see on the next page, we'll look at it here in a second, some different ideas of what you can put on there. And then you're just going to repeat again. So month 3, you're starting the cycle over again, right? And then, so by the end of this, you've got 5 calls for 5 days, 25 people. So by the time you're done with the first week, you've got 100 people. I'm sorry, the first month, you've got 100 people. For 3 months, you've got 300 people in your database. So by the end of 90 days, you've got 300 people in your database. You've got no excuse in 90 days not to have 300 people in your database. And then if you do it again for 3 months, you see my point. You can easily start growing your database. And then you can add people that you met at open house. You can start adding constant people. This could be people that you farm neighborhoods, because you're going to start to run out of people on your cell phone, right? So then you can just start adding, and you're going to start with the easy people in your cell phone, and then you just keep adding. And there's no reason not to continue this cycle in your career forever. This doesn't just end. This is not just for new people. This is a continuous cycle of being able to get your name out there to people that you constantly are calling, going on social media, and then sending some kind of a handwritten note card. This is in addition to some type of like when we look at the 36 touch campaign throughout the year, you're sending emails, you're doing different kinds of drip campaigns. So within this, you can also put them on a drip campaign where they can get a monthly mailer from you, which is some kind of a newsletter that you create. There's other fun things that you can add in there. Let me go into, oops, that's not page 2. There it is. So this is the version that talks about what that could look like. Just gives you some ideas about what the phone call could be about. Different ideas about the social media exchange and what you can put on the handwritten note card. Here it says your goal is your conversation to establish the following: that you're still in real estate, or that you're new in real estate, and that you care for your client and their family. There's the forward script. You can throw in the forward script in there. Local information going on in the market, or local information going on, like I love now this is the time of the year where different things are going on in our communities. The sun is shining. We've got amphitheaters going up everywhere. I just heard there's one going up in Plain Township now. So like the schedule for the amphitheaters for the year, fireworks schedules, like just different communities. So you're not just, so when we're in real estate, aren't we also community professionals? So don't you want to be the community, like farmers markets? Like there's so many different things that we can be the person that someone wants to, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till Tara sends out that community bulletin of what's going on in Hartville, fireworks and the farmers markets and different things that are going on around the community. I know some people mail out like sporting event calendars and things like that, but how about bringing it closer to home and having it be just different things that are going on in your own community where you live? Like Jackson Amphitheater has an entire schedule of different things that go on in that amphitheater all summer long. Even if that's not something they're interested in, you're a resource for different things that are going on. How about all the different fairs that are going on all summer in all the different communities? That's a great thing. You can call it just summer community events, and you can put so much information. You could put it, you can create a flyer in Command, and it could be free. You don't even have to mail it and spend money on postage. You can put a post out there or call about it. Would you like me to email you the flyer of the events? And that's a topic of your call. So there's just so many different things. And here's what I would also suggest: know who you're calling and know what you're calling about. If you go into the call session and not have a plan, you're likely not to do it. You hear me say all the time, time block. Don't just time block that you're going to do it. Time block who and what. On my calendar, the calls I'm making today, their name and their phone number are on my calendar. And just a teeny little note that just triggers in my mind who they are. Because I schedule my calls like when I'm driving between appointments and things. So I don't want to have to be sitting behind if I'm sitting behind my desk, I'm either in a class, in a meeting, or doing work. It's not when I want to be making calls. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'm making calls in the morning or in the evening or whatever. But when I'm scheduling times for calls, it's going to be when I'm driving in my car. So that's why it's on my calendar. And when I put it there, I can just push it and the number is there and I can just call. So make it easy on yourself and know who you're calling and why. Because then you're fumbling and then it doesn't go the way you wanted it to. And then am I going to do it tomorrow if it went badly today? We're always looking for excuses, guys. There's that limiting belief again. And we are always looking for excuses not to do the work that we're going to want to do to be able to get us business. And also because it doesn't feel like a money-making activity. And because it doesn't feel like a money-making activity, we're likely not to want to do it. Questions?
One thing, this is just maybe not my whole on topic, but I'm following up with those folks that that came to open houses, and I'm suggesting times that we meet, but I don't really know what's good for them, so
Mhm.
I like suggested one in the early afternoon and one in the evening on 2 different days. Does that sound reasonable?
I think
or do
so.
you just whatever,
Yeah, I mean, whatever works for you.
right, and I'm just thinking, I don't know if they work, this woman works till 5, I don't,
So you could also say something like, do days or evenings work better for you?
that's true, I should just say that, that's good.
Yeah,
I mean, it sounds obvious, but. I'm
but
just
you
thinking
don't know
about
when
it.
you're trying to figure that out.
Right, and
So-
sometimes I'm like, I'm getting ready for a call and then I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna say? Cause I know my end goal, I want the appointment.
Here's the other thing though, whenever I have noticed when I say do days or evening work better, it gives them an out a little bit.
Right, okay,
So when you say, I have a 2 or a 6 available, then they have to turn you down.
okay,
And you've given them a day and you've given them an evening.
okay,
And I would just test it, just try it out
Okay.
with the same person a couple different ways and see what works.
okay,
If they say, oh gosh, neither one of those times work, okay,
Okay.
then you can roll into the, okay, well, do days or evenings work better for you or do weekends work? And then kind of go into the conversation. We always have to remember, they don't work on our script.
right,
Yeah, they don't know that we're scripting,
right.
thankfully. Otherwise it would sound like that, right?
Right,
So, yeah,
And by giving them a time too, it makes it appear that you're super busy.
yeah,
And so I feel like people want to work with me more.
it's a strange thing, how people like. Don't we want to work with someone who's available to us? But no, we don't really. It's like a weird mind
Feel more
thing.
special if they're-
Yeah, like if they're busy, they must be more professional. They must be good at their job. So therefore, that's who I want to work with, kind of a thing. So yeah. I
And
think
like,
so.
I want to have what everybody else has.
Yeah,
That
yes,
kind of
it is, for sure.
mindset.
What else? Other questions? Because if we don't, here's what we're gonna do with the last 15 minutes. Well, I know what we're gonna do. It was always the plan. So now we're gonna get in our phone and we're gonna call our first 5 people. And that goes for you on Zoom too. So here's my suggestion. Start in the A's. Get out a piece of paper and pencil, whatever you need to do, and write down who you're calling today. Call them, and here's your script. I'm just calling today to let you know that I'm trying to grow my real estate business this summer. And I'm going to what? I'm going to put together a community flyer and I'd love to email it to you. Or did you know that the market's still hot? Or we've worked with lending partners that got this great information about this renovation loan, or any of the topics that we're always talking about. Have a specific thing that's going to be coming from a place of service to them. Or I'm just calling to check to see how you and the family are doing. And we've got this great Red Day event coming up on Thursday, and I'm looking for donations for the Humane Society, whatever. But there needs to be something more than I'm just calling to tell you that I'm trying to grow my real estate business. There needs to be a purpose, but you also are throwing in the real estate part of it. So as a real estate agent, we're doing great things in the community. And I just want to let you know that we're doing this great thing on Thursday, which is called Red Day. And, we're looking for a little bit of support or an invite to something, or those are all the things that we're calling people about. So start brainstorming topics. And you're going to use that same topic for the first 3 months, guys. You don't have to come up with a second topic until you're calling these people for the second time. So you come up with one topic for 3 months and you're saying the same thing every day to 5 people for 3 months. So maybe we've got great lenders that have got these great renovation loans or refinance loans, or would you like a list of vendors that do spring cleanup and power washing and window cleaning and that's how you trickle in the real estate. As a real estate professional, we've got access to these great vendors, and I wondered if you would love for me to email that to you. Or community event things or whatever. Those are just all the things that you can be talking about. So think for a minute about what you want to say with that. And then you're coming from a place of contribution. You've mentioned real estate, and then it's go ahead and give me your email address if you don't have it. so that I can send you this information, and I'll send you valuable information throughout the year. And then, you know what? I don't think I have your home address. Go ahead and give me that too. And if you wouldn't mind keeping me in mind as I try to grow my real estate business, I'm going to include a couple of my business cards. I would appreciate it if you or anyone you know is thinking about buying or selling a home, if you'll keep me in mind.
I have an example. So I told you we're all doing like farming.
Yeah,
So we all did, which I love that you said community events going on in our neighborhood. So I have Lexington Farms and they have a community garage sale
yeah,
June. So we already sent out a postcard and I'm sponsoring Cone Ice. So
Nice.
I'm making calls this week to say you probably received a mailer. I just wanted to call and introduce myself. Come see me, you know, keep me in mind for your, you know, if they're looking to buy.
That's
or
amazing.
sell. So just trying to pick up leads that way too.
and so that's again, way thinking outside the box. So not just SOI, that's, this community is doing a garage sale. We're gonna rent an ice truck and go there and promote our real estate in that area. Then we're gonna send out flyers and we're gonna call them and invite them to come visit us to get ice. And then maybe at some point, and because then the layering effect is this, that's farming and event and combined. But then the way you're gonna get business from that isn't just your one and done. It's now when you send them a postcard in 3 months, oh, there's that girl again from the ice truck. And then it's I might even set something up where you can take photographs and then, hey, go ahead and come to our site to get, or here's a QR code to go. Like I love the Gasparis did this during Trick or Treat. They set up a really cute booth where people could take a photo in front of it during their own neighborhood. And they had a QR code and people went to the QR code, which caused them then to give their information to get their photo from the photo booth that they had set up for Trick or Treat. So there's just so many different ways. It sounds crazy, but that's how we establish a database who then will think of you if you continue to market to them when real estate comes to mind. It's hard because I know we also need right now business. So these are the things that we're doing for future business. So do keep that in mind. So as long as you have the expectation that these are the kinds of things that we're doing to lay the groundwork for future business. But by the way, future business means that you're going to stay in the business. If you are just always just looking for the quick sale right now, let me remember, he'll remain nameless. One of my agents who capped in 3 months and graduated so fast out of coaching, my head spun. He sold 119 transactions in his first year in real estate, is no longer in real estate. One and done, 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 driving all across the state of Ohio, showing houses to anyone he possibly could get his hands on. And he's not even in real estate anymore. He really could have established an amazing real estate career, but he had no interest in training. He had no interest in establishing a business or a foundation. And it was all about spinning my wheels. And he had some good ideas. That's why he sold 119 houses, but he couldn't continue doing what he was doing. And to not even have a past client database or any database. That business could have brought him future business his second year, which it didn't. So it's about the foundation and it's about future business. That's how people stay in the business, right? So, all right, guys, well, I'll let you go. Make your first 5 calls, get your plan together, set your to-dos for 30 days from now to go on social media. Make sure you're friends with those people. Don't just make your calls, add these people into your database. All right, good luck. Thanks, guys.